So we will call the Halifax Board of Selectmen meeting to order Tuesday, June 28th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. The meeting is being taped by Area 58, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. To you, Jonathan. Oh, he's frozen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
He's catching up.
Took it down.
I feel like a call is just going to be better for this.
I feel like he should call. If he wants to.
He did stand.
He's just lagging a little bit. I wonder if he'll hear him do the whole pledge. I give him A for effort right now.
You want to just try calling him on the phone?
Can we call from that speakerphone?
Yeah. But there's something weird we have to do with it, so I need Caesar. We're not supposed to hit one.
Okay, he gave, I just kept him and said, I think it's best if you call and Caesar sends him the phone number, so.
So it's gonna ring. It'll be fun. I don't think I've ever heard this thing ring. It's probably gonna be really loud. Anyways, while we're waiting for Jonathan, we can keep going. We need an approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I second it because I don't know what's going on with Jonathan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then I'll go through, I'll do this part. I move to affirm approval of the following warrants and commitments. Payroll warrant number 114 for $1,089,406.27. Vendor warrant number 115 for $70,794.71. Withholding warrant number 116 for $328,583.73. And the ambulance commitment from 6/6 to 6/12 for $54,766.26.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
I move to affirm payment of the following Selectmen bill. Childscapes, there was vandalism to the Holmes playground.
It was a while back, it was back in November.
Oh.
Okay.
We just hit this one?
I guess it. Oh,
Jonathan? Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear us?
Sorry, guys.
That's okay. Can you hear us?
I got you. You loud and clear. Go for it.
Okay. So that was the Selectmen bill for $800. I moved it.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
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 Yeah, whatever. I move to approve the following warrant and commitments. Vendor warrant 117 for $99,441.35, and the ambulance commitment from 6/13 to 6/19 for $59,943.68.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And then I move to approve the following Selectmen bills. National Grid for $993.11. Brooks and Drensis for $8,080. KP Law for $318.50. And MIIA Property and Casualty Group as insurance for $8,367. And Powers and Sullivan, the audit, for $17,500.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, those are done. Look at that, moving right along here. What time is it? We got time. So, did we already approve the vacation carryovers for the police?
there was another.
This is
Just
mod-
an additional one,
Modification.
one day.
Everything has to be a roll call vote.
Right, because, Jonathan's on the phone. You're right, okay.
Wait, why?
Jonathan's on the phone, so we have to do it.
Oh. All right.
Because everyone's on
Start
here.
over again.
No, we don't have to start over again.
Okay. Right. I guess, yeah, okay, so.
Just,
He joined on the third one. You want to just move the vendor warrant 117 again?
yeah, you want me to do that? Because he wasn't here for the first two, it was only Alex and I.
Okay.
Okay, so I move to approve the following warrant and commitments. Vendor warrant 117 for $99,441.35, and the ambulance commitment for 6/13 to 6/19 for $59,943.68.
Second.
So all those in favor, Jonathan,
Aye.
Alex,
Aye.
and me,
So
yes.
was the same to the, okay, all right.
You just said we had to roll call
I know,
it, so
but
he
you
wasn't
said
on for the
roll
other
call,
one.
Yes, yes, and yes. think that's what roll call is, right?
No, we have to call names so people know who's responding.
Oh, okay, all right.
And then instead of going through all the selectmen bills, I'll just say I move to approve payment of all the selectmen bills that I just read.
Second.
All those in favor, Jonathan,
Aye.
Alex,
Aye.
and I'm a yes. So, that will be after. So we have one more carryover from the police department. Yes.
I'm gonna read the mail first.
You want to do that first?
You want to take the help?
No, I'm not gonna. This is the only one that was requested to be read out loud.
This.
Yeah.
So, you read that out loud right now, or you?
Do you want to do it right now? Or you want to
Yeah, I
wait?
think we should do it.
Okay.
We can read it.
Alex, you have a really good
That
voice. Why
came
don't you do
in.
it?
All right, we received a letter from the Halifax Fireworks Committee. It's undated, but it says, "Dear Select Board members, the Fireworks Committee is pleased that the fireworks event on Saturday, June 25th was a rousing success. All vendors were very happy with our event and all expressed interest in returning. The committee would like to thank the following groups and individuals for their assistance in making the fireworks a success: the Halifax Fire Department, the Halifax Police Department, other local public safety organizations, Bob Valerie and the staff of Halifax Board of Health, CERT volunteers who helped with parking, Scott Materna, building maintenance, Steve Hayward in the Highway Department, Mark Grant DJ, Alan Diaz for supplemental light, Jillian Albanese and Kelsey Trundle for cleanup, and finally Selectman Jonathan Seelig for his assistance on both Saturday and Sunday. Finally, the committee has a request. We had a banner created for the fireworks acknowledging many of our donors. Would it be possible to place the banner on the town green for a week or two? It would be great if residents and visitors could see the businesses and others responsible for the success of our event. Thank you. Sincerely, the Halifax Fireworks Committee, Janice Hayward, Kathleen McLaughlin, Pam Engstrom, Susan, and Mike Hill."
So you know where this immediately puts me back to with the whole banners and
Town green?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And the whole, we have a bylaw somewhere that says that we can't have flags, banners, anything like that, other than, 'cause that goes back to the whole school committee thing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say no to it, I just don't want to say yes to it at this very second. I want to follow up with the bylaw and make sure we're where we should be with that.
Okay. So our next meeting is in what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So you want to put it on? the
We're
agenda?
actually going to end up holding a meeting next week to do the town administrator, but we'll get to that at the end.
Okay. So can we put the approval for this on the
Yes.
future agenda?
For next.
Can I ask about the bylaw? Because we've had like a thermometer out there in years past. I know the Boy Scouts, they do flower drive, bottle drive signs. Is there a reason we can't?
No,
It was a select
I'm not saying we
sponsored
can't.
event.
I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm just saying we want to make sure that we're doing it the right way, that it's
Well, was a
where it
select-
should go.
I know the privy of you, so it would be, that's why we're asking you, because we actually are appointed by you, the selectmen, so I figured you'd ask to make the ruling on it.
If Jonathan and Alex.
It's not
want
a
to
separate
roll, but-
entity, like,
I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but if we need to check with the bylaw, again, I don't speak out of turn. I thought we had power over what was there, but if that's not the case actually, and you might know more than me, if we have to check with the bylaw, then maybe that's what we have to check with.
I mean, I understand that we quote unquote have power over that, but as the select board, we should follow the same rules as everybody else. And if we tell other committees and places in this town, like the school, that they can't do certain things, I don't feel comfortable going ahead and going, oh, well, I have the power, it falls under me, so I'm gonna do it. So I just wanna make sure that I'm doing it the right way, and I'm not saying no, I think it's a fabulous idea. If it was a personal thing to me and not Selectman Ashley, I'd say, hey, yeah, go for it. But there are things that I have to make sure we do properly, because things have been very contentious in this town over the last couple of years, and we've said no to other things and other buildings and other situations, and I don't want that to come back on us. And I'm not just gonna stand here and say, because it fell under me, that I'm gonna hold the power, because that's not how I work, so. Sandy?
So could it be considered like the plant sales sign? Is it more a sign that's saying thank you than, I think that what we're getting caught up in is calling it a banner, which would be like a banner or a flag.
Right, or a flag,
But
exactly.
this is more of a thank you sign.
Which I don't think is gonna end up being a problem. I just wanna make sure
Okay.
before we do it. because if I were to do that tonight, who knows the amount of emails we'll end up with tomorrow as to why I couldn't do this and why you said we couldn't do that. We've had quite a few of those over the last couple of weeks, so I'm trying to just make sure we're doing right by all committees and everybody here.
Do we need to know the size of the sign?
That's what I'm saying. I think there's more to this. I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to make that judgment call without knowing all the variables.
Can we fill you in with the variables?
Yes.
The sign, we'll call it the sign, it was on the field Saturday evening, anybody who's at the fireworks.
I did see
would've
it.
seen it. It's 4 by 10, 10 by 4, what we want to look at?
10 feet by 4.
10 feet long. I mean, the only downside of waiting 2 weeks, it's the 4th of July will be over.
We're going to have a meeting next week. It won't be 2 weeks, but I mean, Jonathan and Alex, we can make a motion to approve based on the bylaw and making sure that it falls within the bylaw. And if it does, we can get back to you. And if it doesn't, then we can either tell you how to fix it to make it fall into that, or it won't go up. So I'm okay with.
I like that idea actually of approving it pending a bylaw review.
Right. So I'm okay with that, and then we'll get that done. That way it can go up before the 4th. I just want to make sure we're doing it the right way.
Who's doing the bylaw review?
It's gonna have to go to town council.
Yeah. We'll have to go to town council.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor?
Jonathan, did you make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the Halifax 4th, we're going to call it a sign for the town green, pending bylaw review by town council to go up ASAP as soon as we get clearance.
Second.
All those in favor, Jonathan,
Uh,
Alex,
Aye.
and I'm a yes. So we'll get you an answer as soon as we can. I'll reach out to him even after the meeting. He's pretty good about being responsive.
Excellent.
And we'll kind of move that along. But thank you for all you guys did. I was saying before you walked in that the amount of positive feedback I got, even my kids, like, these are the best ones we've ever seen, even better than Plymouth. I'm like, you're right, these are the best ones we've ever saw. So you guys did a phenomenal job.
You did a good job.
fantastic job, guys. That was excellent.
Thank you, John.
So we have, oh, what time is it? 'Cause we have 2 minutes.
6:42.
2 minutes. So we have vacation carryover from the police department. I think it's just, they changed it a little bit, right? They're asking for one additional day
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
carried over. I know you're not here to read this, Jonathan, so it's, but I think they're still allowed to do this, so.
Yeah, it was a correction, I guess it was, so it was an amendment to the initial one that he had submitted, that you guys voted on and approved last meeting.
Give a motion.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the additional day of care, or approve 3 days, which is a total of 24 hours of carryover to FY '23 to Chief Chavs from Officer McDonald.
Second.
All those in favor, Jonathan, Alex,
Aye.
and I'm a yes. And then we have a 6:45 with Jack Dolan. So we'll just jump to you so we don't end up running late. We're right about there.
Well, thank you very much for agreeing to see me this evening.
Thanks for coming.
I have some documents for you.
Thank
I'll go
you.
through these in a moment.
Great, thank you.
This is for Jonathan, and also one for the record. Thank you very much. So there are, well, first of all, for those who don't know me, that would be Jonathan and Alexander. I served when I was working with Brooks and Durensis as the town's labor council. I've ended my service with Brooks and Durensis. During the time that I was working with Brooks and Durensis, I maintained a separate practice anyway, and I was working of counsel to the firm of Brooks and Durensis. I have nothing but respect for the firm in general, and for Paul Durensis in particular, but I just enjoyed, kind of doing my own thing. So I'm here tonight to review with you a proposal to continue to provide your labor counsel services, and also to provide what I call HR counsel on demand services. The labor part of this is pretty straightforward. It's the standard labor attorney services that you would expect to see in a town, which would be any collective bargaining, any grievances or arbitrations that might result. The things that tend to be somewhat, well, I guess I'd say, litigious, those types of things that are adjudicated, anything like that would be what I would consider labor counsel services. In addition to that, what I'm proposing is to provide this program that I've done for probably 12 years now in other communities called HR Counsel on Demand. And it allows a community to designate certain individuals who have essentially unlimited access to me with respect to any employment law or human resources questions they may have. It also contains a component for training. And the whole purpose of this program is to basically provide a human resource presence for a community that might not otherwise have a human resource presence, or even if you did have an HR director, and I know you don't, but even if you did have an HR director, I find that HR directors in towns that I serve frequently call me because they want to make sure that what they're doing is right. Mistakes in the area of employment law or human resources can be very, very costly and time-consuming to resolve. My purpose is to have basically a preventive approach to that, to get access to counsel whenever you need it without worrying about the meter running. So it's done on a fixed cost basis, the HR component of this. The labor part I propose to do on a standard hourly rate basis at $180 per hour, which I think you'll find is a very competitive rate. And for the HR Counsel on Demand component, I propose to do a fixed annual retainer of $20,000 payable in 4 quarterly installments of $5,000 each. Those would then be deposited into my escrow account and drawn down on a weekly basis. The town would be free to end that relationship anytime it wanted to on a 30-day notice. But I will tell you that I'm serving 5 other communities in this capacity. If you were to talk to any of them, I think they would tell you it's a marvelous program. My goal is to promote use of the program. If somebody were to call me every single day with a question, I'd be fine with that. In fact, I did have an HR director in one community who did just that, and I never discouraged her from doing that. I think the genesis for this program was I served as a town administrator in 3 communities as well. Each of those communities was small and didn't have an HR presence. Now, because I was an attorney before I became a town administrator, I was able to deal with most of the human resource and employment law questions that came up. But every now and then I'd get an oddball Fair Labor Standards Act question or something like that. And I would reach out to Labor Council, and sometimes I'd get the answer, well, that's a town council question. Then I'd call town council, well, that's a Labor Council question. And I realized there's this kind of more common need than Labor Council, which is, sitting at the bargaining table and all that. There's a daily need for advice about things like the Fair Labor Standards Act, the Americans with Disabilities Act, the Massachusetts Parental Leave Act, and all of that. There's a whole alphabet soup of laws that are implicated almost every day in any community. And when you don't have an HR director, or even if you do, sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. So I encourage people to call me if there's any hesitance at all or any question whatsoever in their mind, and I'll help them do the right thing, and I'm very accessible. So what I gave you in the packet, just to quickly walk you through it, because I'm very sensitive to your time this evening, is on the left side of the packet, you'll find the actual proposed agreement. It's a fairly standard type of retainer or fee agreement. Attorneys are required to have a fee agreement with their client under the ethics rules. On the right side of the packet, you'll see 2 documents. One is sort of a series of examples of the types of service I would provide under the HR Counsel on Demand program, it's fairly extensive. What I try to do is, if there's some question as to whether something falls under labor or under the HR program, unless it's clearly labor, I err on the side of including it under the retainer, so you're not getting more hourly bills than you should. I really do want you to take full advantage of that if you decide to sign up for this program. The other document on that side is a list of training programs that I've done in the past. That doesn't mean you're confined to that list of training programs. every one of those programs originated with a request from some community for help. And I designed the program to meet the needs of that community. So these are not canned programs, off-the-shelf programs. These are custom-designed programs to meet the needs of the communities I serve. And I would be happy to do that as well in Halifax. So the preventative part is both access to counsel and also training town employees so they know when they should be reaching out for assistance, and they're also aware, it's consciousness raising about issues pertaining to employment and HR.
So a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
You handled a significant amount of investigations for us at the beginning of last year, or this time last year, that involved town employees and committee members. Is that something that would fall under the HR?
No, I think in the agreement it specifically excludes anything disciplinary or related to discipline, including investigations.
Okay.
Now that said, if it were something fairly easy, we could talk about whether I would include it under HR or not.
Though I think we also came to the conclusion that if some more training had been done, maybe we wouldn't have ended up where we were.
Well, I think there's a number of things that you can do in Halifax to reduce the likelihood of needing investigations. And certainly, without going into any details about the investigations, I think they identified certain needs for perhaps some policy changes. That's the type of thing I can help you with, and that would be under the retainer and not considered labor council. So drafting policies
Okay.
is typically something I would do as part of the retainer.
And then how would it work? Let's say Sue, just because you're standing there or sitting there and I can see you. How would they have access to you? Like, is anybody allowed to call you? Are you going to have a head person, or how does this work?
The town administrator and or the select board would determine who is authorized to call me. You would let me know that, and if you want them to have that authority, I'm fine with it. So typically what happens is it's generally the town administrator. If you have a access to counsel policy, you may want to use that to determine who has access. Other communities have authorized every department head to call me. I'm fine with that too. And generally, if I respond to a department head, I'm going to copy the town administrator so that, the right hand knows what the left hand is doing.
Right.
But whoever you want. And again, whenever there's a need, it isn't necessarily confined to the town administrator. I've had calls over the weekend from DPW directors because of a problem with an employee in a DUI kind of thing. There can be all sorts of reasons why these types of employment law-related questions arise, not necessarily following banker's hours,
Right.
and I'll be there to answer those.
So piggybacking that question, I know the answer to this, but just so everyone else knows the answer
Sure.
to this. How responsive are you?
I like
How
to
quick?
think, well, the chief might disagree, but for reasons that are unusual. But I like to think that I'm extremely responsive. For example, I had a number of calls today under the HR program in other communities. Those issues are now resolved. If I can resolve them immediately over the phone, I do. If I need to do some research, I do it, and I try to get back within 24 hours.
How do you feel about having to come in for anything? What if there's something pressing we need you here for, a meeting or anything like that?
I'll be here.
Sorry,
I also
that's a lot of
built into
questions.
the agreement, if I'm not mistaken, quarterly, it doesn't have to be quarterly, but I'm assuming quarterly meetings just to review what your training needs are, how the program is going, are there any policies that you want me to work on? In other words, just sort of strategy and planning sessions
Yeah.
to make sure you're taking full advantage of the program.
I think the policy thing is a big thing. I think we, like you had said, over the last year or so, realized that there's a lot of policies we either have that need to be brought up to the times or just don't have it all, and we should have. So I think that's a big sticking point.
If I may, in the proposal, I talked about 3 training sessions. If you ended up needing 4, I'm not going to, quibble about it. But each session doesn't necessarily have to be one training session. And what I mean by that is it's really 3 topics. So if you chose to do a training session on ethics and you wanted to reach as broad an audience as possible, so you wanted to meet during the day to reach town employees, and you wanted to meet in the evening to reach elected and appointed officials, I'd consider that one training.
Like you did for us previously.
Exactly.
Okay. That's good to know too. So we're not paying twice.
The only question, and maybe I missed it, but this came about as a result of allocating funds for HR department head training. Is that true?
Well, it's how the conversation kind of came up and around.
I'm just
Along
unclear
with-
how we went from getting department heads trained to having a lawyer on retainer.
Yeah.
I think the way it really came about, at least from my perspective, and that my perspective may be different than what's happened internally, was that I left Brooks and Durensis and I was their labor counsel and your labor counsel. So at the moment, again, if you decide that you would like to continue with Brooks and Durensis for labor counsel and they can offer that to you, I'm fine with that. I worked here long enough to see that there's a need for a greater HR presence than you have. I think this is a cost-effective way to achieve that. If you don't, that's fine. But I believe it is.
Okay.
It's really not, the training is just one piece of this. And I would say, while it's a very important piece, it's not the piece that gets used the most often. In the other communities where I do this, I have people who will write to me and say, here's the question of the day. And they'll send me a question about employment law or HR, and I'll answer it. That's the real meat and potatoes of this program.
Mm-hmm.
The training is just something else I do to help prevent problems from arising.
No, I understand what you're saying. I was under the assumption, I guess, that we were talking about getting department heads trained. I didn't realize this was a conversation about getting another counsel on retainer. That's all.
And can I ask a quick question? Is that part of, so that was always, Charlie handled a lot of HR. Is that being discussed and when interviewing new people?
In
That
the TA,
position?
yeah.
It is.
So, kind of. Unfortunately, like you saw last time around, a lot of our candidates for TA are not TAs. So we may lack some of the policy building, grant writing, a lot of the stuff that Charlie used to do. So we're trying to level the seesaw a little bit, make sure that we're not heavy one way and not another.
If I may?
Yeah.
Even if your ultimate TA has exceptional human resources skills or experience, what I've found, and this kind of surprised me, but what I found is that I get more calls from seasoned HR directors than I do from people with less HR experience. And I think the reason for that is they know that there's an issue there that others might not even
So
spot.
they understand the gray area.
Yeah.
So they understand black, they understand white, but once it gets into the minutia of it, they're gonna reach out to you because they know what they don't know. No, I understand that.
So I think, there'd be a need, even if you had a superstar TA in the area of HR, I think.
But Paul is doing our labor council now.
Yeah.
I mean, you said you left Brooks and
So-
Durensis.
Correct.
But they didn't stop supporting labor council, correct?
We haven't had the need for one yet. He finished up our contracts, and our,
Hold on, let me back up. My question is,
right now, yeah.
have we been notified from Brooks and
No.
Durensis that they are no longer supporting labor council?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. Sandy, what do we have allocated for the training? I thought this was just training.
It was only $10,000 and that
Okay.
was just for training.
And I agree that I think the department heads need formal training if we're gonna have someone in place that's not as familiar with HR. Well, they should have HR training anyway, let's be honest. But I don't, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude, but
I don't
if
find
we
it-
have Brooks and Durensis already, and they haven't told us that they're not going to be our labor council, why would we pay to have another labor council on retainer? And I'm
Well,
not trying
we
to question your
don't-
abilities.
We don't retain, we only pay Brooks and Durensis as we use them.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So we don't retain
But,
them.
so why would we retain an additional labor council if we have council in place that has not told us they're not willing to do that anymore?
If I may. Two responses to that. One is, you don't need to use me for labor if you don't wish to. The labor part is by the hour anyway. My rate is $180. If that's a more favorable rate, you could choose to use me, or you could choose to use Brooks and Durensis for labor. I still think that the HR component has value for this town. And I will tell you that there are other towns where I do just the HR program and not labor. There are some where I do both labor and the HR. It's really whatever the town needs and whether you're comfortable with your current labor council. If you're comfortable with current HR council, labor council, stick with that person, that's fine. I still think the HR program has a lot of value because it can prevent problems from becoming bigger problems.
But your retainer is for HR and labor.
No, it's only for HR.
Okay.
Can I say something really quick?
Yeah, Jonathan, go ahead.
Well, I'm torn here, Jack. I do think, I mean, if you look at us like a company or a corporation, I don't know how many employees we have here for the town of Halifax, or north of 50. So to run a business or a town without an HR department with that many employees, I do feel like leaves us open to vulnerability. So I do agree that there is definitely a need for an HR component and an increased HR component with the town of Halifax. I wasn't here last year, and Alex wasn't here last year. Actually, you were around. Can I ask what percentage of our calls to Brooks and Durantis were HR-related issues? I mean, will we be saving money with Brooks and Durantis? Because I would assume a healthy chunk of the calls we were making to our town council, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Ashley, but I'm sure there were some HR issues there.
Oh, there was a lot of HR issues. There was a lot of HR issues. That being said, I would be willing to do a little bit of research, Jonathan, and look into that and really dig apart the bills and figure out if this would be a cost-saving thing for us versus what we're doing with Brooks and Durantis. We don't have to make a decision on this right now. We can, and I want you to be able to see everything that's in front of us too, and you're not here.
Yeah, I'd like to, and again, I do. I think not to go doom and gloom, but we are leaving ourselves open without an increased HR presence in the town, without a doubt. But we are also looking at historic legal bills in this town, given with what's going on. So
Jack,
I hope we can find a way that helps solve both problems.
Could you email us the towns you're currently working with? I think it would be great if the board could touch base and see what they're really utilizing you for, or even if I'll do the research, the guys, I can bring it back.
I'd be happy to tell you, I work with the towns of Dedham, Foxborough, Falmouth, Stoughton, and Princeton.
So I think that would be a good just reference-wise. And we won't put it on next week's thing because that's going to end up just being the TA thing. But so the next meeting in 2 weeks, that will give me a little time after the holiday to dig apart some of the Brooks and Durantis bills, figure out exactly what we've been spending on HR things and if it makes sense.
Yeah, I truly didn't expect a decision this evening. I've given you a lot of information to absorb, and I want you to be very comfortable with your decision.
I appreciate it. So I want to just make sure that's on the next agenda.
Do you want him to come back in? Do you want him to
Yeah.
come back?
Oh, no, you don't even have to come back in for it unless we have any, I'll ask you if we have any
Entirely up
questions.
to you.
Can we keep your cell phone on retainer if needed?
Absolutely.
Still feel like I've talked to you a great deal.
In fact, the cell phone is included in that, and only call me on the cell phone.
Okay.
I've gotten rid of the office phone because I always told people to call me on the cell phone anyway, and
Yeah.
everybody was, and the other phone never rang. So.
I understand.
Awesome.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Appreciate you
Jack.
coming.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Sue, we're a little bit after you.
Thanks, Jack.
Oh, yeah, thank you. It's only my computer. Thank you very much.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Good, how are you?
So I just wanted to talk to you guys, I know you weren't here, but in March of this year, the selectmen asked me if I wanted to switch. We used to have a bulletin board out front, and I would just shrink down the postings and put them inside it, and we had a key to lock it. So that we'd be in compliance with the open meeting law, which I'm sure you already read because I gave it to you.
You did.
But it's very big, so it gets confusing, and I know that. So we use the website as our 24-hour posting location, but by law, I am still required to have those postings in or around the clerk's office during business hours. And lately, the screen has just not had the accurate information that we're putting in the digital folder. I thought when I agreed to it that I was going to be controlling it, and I'm not. So, and it makes, not only does it make me look bad, and if you look out there right now, it still says the clerk's office will be closed on June 8th. There's other, it's not just for my postings, there's other stuff going on and I have no control over it.
Okay, so who's controlling it right now?
Caesar. I control like what postings go into the digital folder, but then that's not what's showing up. Well,
So it's a programming issue.
I believe so. I don't know I'm not really
Okay.
sure. But it's not, it's happened a couple of times. This past time, it was well over a week. I know people on vacation, but it was happening before he left. There's nothing I can do when he's not around.
Did you notify him?
I did.
Okay.
And he did fix it when he came back, but it's not, it keeps happening. Like, I would say like, we did it March, April, probably maybe once a month.
Okay, so we're gonna have to talk to Caesar into why that's
And
happening.
I'm not like standing there staring at it to make sure that it's, you know what I
Right.
mean? But I'll just walk by and I'll be like, oh wait, those were last week's, or, and there's no way for me to do anything about it. So it's making me not compliant.
Right. So we'll have to talk to Caesar about why it's happening.
Yep.
I mean, we haven't been using this very long, so there are gonna be some kinks, and we need to work them out, obviously, as fast as possible and efficiently as possible. And then figure out maybe how we can better get you a little bit more control of how it's happening, or what you can do to make sure if you see an issue, you know how to fix it maybe?
Right, so what happened like last week, for example, there was a resident read and, they might not read all of it, so they thought a meeting was happening, but the meeting's not happening, because it was a meeting that was 2 weeks prior to.
Right.
And some people don't have the internet and they do rely on that.
Right.
To read the postings.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I ask real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way with the program that maybe Caesar could explain to you, Sue, or give you access to that? You can just enter it in yourself. I mean, I know Caesar's one of the busiest guys in the building, so
I'm pretty
for him to
busy
have to, I don't know what the program is. I know when I used to work
you're
at
not.
a
No, you're
TV
not.
place, I would be in charge of putting in my own content. The IT guy would kind of set it up and show me how to do it, but then the actual content and changing of content was up to me to do. So
Right.
is that something you could take off of Caesar's plate? And I don't know if I don't know how user-friendly the software is.
Absolutely, I'd be more than willing to.
So I think this is something we're gonna have to talk with Caesar about too, which isn't a problem. We can talk to him about it. I'm glad that you brought it to our attention, because again, it is a newer thing and we need to know that there are kinks. Technology isn't always work with us. So let us work with him, and then we'll try to get you guys working together on how we can fix it and how you can better fix if there's a problem. You don't have to go to him.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we have a few minutes.
7 minutes.
Line item transfers. So, read all these bad boys. So can I motion them all together?
You could just read each one, right? And then you move it, and then read each one with your mind.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I can read them all and then motion, I don't have to go individually?
Yeah.
Okay, so a request is hereby made for the following transfer for appropriation in accordance with Chapter 40, Section 33B of Mass General Laws. Please transfer the amount of $1,880 from account 01-129-5110, the town administrator salary. Yes.
Can you increase that to 2,100? It's for data processing. From town administrator's salary to data
So not
processing.
1880?
No,
Say
2,100.
2,000.
Sorry, I meant to correct that.
Sure. I can change that. Okay, so we're gonna transfer $2,100 from account 01-129-5110, the town administrator salary. Budgeted amount for the fiscal year was $121,250. The current balance is $33,713.54. To account 01-155-5118 for data processing. Budget amount is $135,705, and the current balance is $25,05.43. Unforeseen overtime and expenses. And then we're gonna transfer third, go ahead.
I'm just curious, what was unforeseen?
Pardon me?
What was unforeseen?
Well,
Was there?
number one, we didn't budget in any overtime, so the overtime was unforeseen. Number two is there were different expenses, like for town meeting and different things that I think went under data processing. I believe that he wasn't expecting.
Oh, okay.
All right?
All right, thank you.
We're gonna transfer $30,000 from account 01-911-5636, the Plymouth County Retirement, as the budgeted amount of $1,462,365, and current balance is $32,741.90. to account number 01-151-5308. The law line, the budgeted amount for fiscal year was $30,000. Current balance is $4,711.77. Expenses exceeded the amount appropriated. And then $740.35 sorry, this is the handwritten one. Account 01-610-5113. Library clerical wage. Budget amount for the fiscal year was $174,214. Current balance is $66,670. To account 01-612-5210. Library electricity. Current budget amount was $12,000. The balance is only $163.14. The last electric bill was $903.49.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Did we capture, I mean, that's like 8% of the total budget. Did we capture that in next year's budget? Do you know, Sandy?
Yes, so what happened, they had I don't know what to call it, a glitch over in their electrical system. They had a few months of extremely high electric bills. So Scott went over and checked it out. Jean brought it to my attention after a couple of months. I asked Scott to check it out, and he said he called the electric company, and the electric company came down and fixed something, and the electric bills went back to the way they should be. So it was an unusually high electric bills that caused that.
So are we anticipating a credit then? Were they overcharging?
I do not believe they were overcharging. I think there was something going on, but I'm not sure.
Internally to the building?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, I'll reach out to Scott. All right, sorry.
Transfer $476.16 from account 01-210-5115 from the police wages. Budgeted amount is $1,215,013. Current balance is $184,837.77. The excess balance is due to COVID. Some training classes have been held online and many classes suspended. And we're going to move it to account 01-210-5110, the police chief wages. Budgeted amount was $130,000. Current balance is $9,047.86. The reason is Juneteenth is a federal holiday and there were no funds put in the account in the beginning of fiscal year 2022 to account for this. The holiday was added to the police chief contract, therefore wages need to be added to pay for additional holiday. We're going to move $1,741.90 from account 65-452-5534, the water supply. Budgeted amount is $182,600. Current amount is $13,186.88. And we're moving it to account number 65-454-5638, water retirement. Budgeted the amount was $31,000. We're negative in the account. $1,741.90. Retirement assessment came in higher than anticipated.
Can we do a wellness check on Celia?
Jonathan, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, just checking on you.
Second.
We're gonna transfer $1,000 from account 01-299-5430, Halifax animal control expense. Budgeted amount was $4,616. Current balance is $1,133.21. To account 01-298-5120, Halifax animal control wages. Budgeted amount was $21,619. Current balance is $1,330.86. Animal control officer has had extreme number of animal calls and complaints and had to go over the allotted weekly hours. But like that's just life right now. Any beavers? Chief?
No, chickens and cats.
Oh, chicken and cats. Okay.
Chickens, really?
Transfer $9,770 from account 192, custodial employees. Budgeted amount was $209,619. Current balance is $22,716.87. We're moving it to account 01-197-5290-004. Town building PM expense. budget for the year was $52,616. Current balance was $53.23, and they're unexpected repairs. It's a lot of unexpected repairs, $20,000.
Yeah, the air conditioning
Something
on
doesn't.
the bottom half of this floor, that half, they had to repair the condenser. And there was the light pole out at the library.
Air conditioning repairs are expensive quick. I
Huh?
can vouch for that. I
Do you know
said
that?
Air conditioning repairs are
What do you know about
expensive quick.
HVAC?
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to, we're sending these to finance, right, FinCom?
I know finance did them last night.
Okay, so a motion to approve the line item transfers.
I make a motion to approve the line item transfers as read.
Second.
All those in favor, Jonathan,
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
And I'm a yes.
You gotta sign originals.
Yeah, they're in my hand. Jonathan, when you come back from your glorious vacation, you're gonna have a lot of things to sign.
I heard I got a lot of homework.
I signed the weekly stuff for you, so
Thank you.
try not to lay it on too thick. And road openings.
7:17. Yes, it'll
We
be.
got a
Oh, do we?
7:15 though, right? Yeah.
We do. You're right. Now you're keeping me on my toes. Suzanne Emerson. Hello. You want to be reappointed to the Agricultural Commission, correct? We don't have your questions, do we?
I can probably
But it's a
remember them.
reappointment, okay.
So we asked the same 4 questions to everyone. Don't seem so enthused. How long have you lived in town?
Since 2008.
Do you attend town meetings?
I do.
And the other 2 are kind of extra, but because you're being reappointed, one of them was, why do you think you'd be an asset to the committee or the board?
So I've been involved with agriculture and livestock for more than 42 years, pretty much. And I was instrumental in actually starting the AgCom in town, the right to farm at town meeting in 2015. Helped create most of the documentation that you see on the website. And I'm actually here, and I heard you talk about complaints with chickens and dogs, but chickens should be an AgCom conversation between Board of Health and us, which Board of Health do not use us. They're
I'll make sure I tell my ACO that. We'll
So-
call you next time.
So, well, poultry kind of falls under agriculture.
I agree.
Livestock, poultry, and so.
You just got a way out.
We did introduce
Yeah, right.
ourselves.
We got free
But
advertising,
Chief-
so was I.
Chief enjoys the calls, I feel
Yeah, Board of
like.
Health is relatively new, but we did introduce ourselves to them and let them know that we're here to support, to guide, to help mediate, to be able to, a lot of times, local farmers, they'd rather see some other farmer come down with a problem or complaint than a town guy, and most of the time it's more of either their misunderstanding. There's a lot of people that get chickens thinking that this is gonna be the greatest thing in the world to have my own eggs, and it doesn't work out that way, so they end up with a rooster that's making loud noises and complaints happen, and they don't know what to do. So we are here to help and support and guide, and so yeah.
Well, thank you.
The last question, which is superfluous, is do you think you have the time to commit to the committee or the board?
Yes. Unfortunately, the first 5 or 6 years, we were pretty active in creating these documents and of what generally accepted practices for poultry raising, horses, and things like that. Then COVID happened. We didn't have a lot of meetings, and now it's been really slow to get things going.
Mhm.
But yeah, I work remote and have been for 3 years, so I'm pretty much at anybody's disposal.
So we should call her the next chicken call,
Well, I was
that's what she's
gonna
saying.
So how does that, seriously though, how does that work? So you guys get a call for a chicken on the loose?
Somebody dumped 12 chickens at the solar fields at the line. So the ACO recovered 8 of them. The other couple were dead, and a couple others were badly injured. So we took them and we housed them in our kennel. We set it all up, and then lo and behold, about a week later, we had eggs. So we're waiting for the state to come in because the state had to test them because of the avian flu.
Yeah.
So they did blood testing and they were fine. So then we donated to the lady across the street who has a whole bunch of chickens.
So when you get the call for chickens, this is so silly. But when you get the call for chickens, you flip it right to ACO?
That's, yeah.
So can we
Yes.
make sure that
Oh, yeah.
agriculture?
Yeah, because she's got, like I said, she's got so many other things.
I'm
she's
sure
gonna
your
do.
officers are excited to
Oh, yeah, they are.
not
So
go.
is she.
But yeah, I think if there's a better understanding that there's a resource available,
Yeah.
Because I think she, like, her, she's got a job description, there's this, and then she just kind of, there's like, even like wildlife, we're not really supposed to get involved in,
Yeah.
but obviously, you got a resident that's got an issue, what are you gonna do, So,
No, I understand.
So we
I
respond, but yeah.
but I also just made a
I'll make
transfer
sure I
request for
Get
ACO,
you guys in
so.
contact.
We have more
Yeah.
resources,
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
and
Right.
yeah, poor ACO's got, they
Yeah.
have more dogs, cats,
Yeah.
problems. Chickens are that gray area
Right,
that really
right.
should be poultry livestock.
Yeah,
And, if I were involved, I could have helped you get them. I have a barn, I could have housed them,
Yeah.
try to find homes, have avian flu, whatever. You can
Right,
call
right.
them as
Yeah.
a PCA. There's a lot of other resources with Farm Bureau
Yeah.
and things like that
oh, definitely,
we could definitely.
no worries.
All right, so that was that was a tangent, I'm sorry.
This is,
Yeah.
this is a nice introduction,
Yeah.
so we'll keep that going
Yeah.
full circle.
And that was a tangent, I'm sorry, but,
Well, you haven't had an act.
well, our animal control officer is overwhelmed, so
That
if
is-
there's a resource that can help with that,
80% of our job is we're here to support and guide the town, all the different departments when it comes to livestock,
awesome.
or at least,
Well, thank
who
you.
you can call or what you can do is what happens if there's neglect and things like that.
I don't have any further questions.
We have motion.
Jonathan, do you have any questions?
I just would like to say that Suzanne Emerson, I don't know you, but I want to know you. You sound like an agricultural commission superhero. And if we had a poster, you'd probably be on it. So keep up the great work. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, I make a motion to reappoint Suzanne Emerson to the Agricultural Commission.
Second.
All those in favor, Jonathan, Alex,
Aye.
and I'm a yes. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
I'll give you my
3 minutes.
I'll take your information.
So we have road openings that we'll try to get through in maybe 3 minutes. We have, I'm just gonna read them all and then we'll just move them all unless there's an issue. Let's see, where is this? Road, to excavate a 4x6 road cut due to gas maintenance at 323 Holmes Street, 331 Holmes Street, 12 Harvard Street, it's all the same reason, and 20 Harvard Street. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Yep, thank you. All those in favor, Jonathan,
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
And I'm a yes. Jonathan's gonna have to do those when he comes back. Yep. Okay. Well, that will help Jonathan. He's gonna have writer's cramp, I think, if we give him too much. Alright, so, we have use of Route 58 boat ramp. Did we ever find anything about this?
This was just for notification, wasn't it? It's state property.
Yeah, well, you guys had asked me to ask.
Once approved by the town, the event coordinator sends to state police. Okay, so that was our question.
And I sent it to her also, I sent her approval from the board.
So local police and fire have signed off, we just need to sign off to go to state police, and this is to use the boat ramp on Saturday, September 17th, 2022 for the 20th Harbor to the Bay ride.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Jonathan?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
And I'm a yes, and I think I'm the only one who signs this one.
It's nice of the state to ask our opinion.
Don't get used to it. Alright, that. We have 1 minute, so who is next? Jean Kling.
Hey.
How are you? Reappointment to Beautification Committee. So Alex had the questions, how long have you lived in town?
24 years,
Do you go to town meeting?
I do.
What was your other questions?
Why do you think you would be an asset to the committee or board?
She was already on the committee.
I know, it's a reappointment, so.
Right.
I ask the same questions to everybody.
That's okay. No, I've been doing it now for 5 years, so I feel like I really have an idea how to really motivate people for cleanup days. We now do 2 cleanup days a year. We used to just do spring, now we do spring and fall. And we have planters all over town that we get people to sign up for them to keep them beautified with new plantings and the Peg Fitzgerald garden. I also talk to people about that. The CMAC Landscaping Company comes and takes care of that. So I'm pretty motivated. I really care about the environment and feel like it's a great way to give back to the town.
I agree. And then, obviously, you're aware of the time commitment.
Right.
Yes.
And I am retired, so I feel like I have a little extra time if something has to be done during the day. So that's all.
No more questions for me.
Either. Is there a motion? Oh, Jonathan, do you have any questions? Sorry.
No, I just wanted to thank Dean for her service and maybe it'd be something to bring up down the road in getting ready for the fireworks. The front of Hops, and maybe we could get up in front of the committee. I think is a prime spot for an island sponsorship. It's an awesome playground, but the front is, needs some love. So I know it doesn't have anything to do with your reappointment, but maybe something to put a bug in your ear for
That's a
coming
great
before the
idea.
board.
We have talked a little bit about starting to do more island adoptions because we have the adopted planter, but we haven't done adopted island yet. So, and that's a great idea at the Hops to do that. And during the fireworks, we were thinking we should have probably send a message out to all of our email people to see if anybody would help with cleanup after the fireworks, and those are kind of motivated people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say we were very neat this year. I was on cleanup crew and it wasn't that bad. I was very impressed with how people used the trash barrel, so it was great.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Is there a motion?
yeah, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor, Jonathan, Alex,
Aye.
and I'm a yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'd love to do an island if they would do that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we'll do one of our.
I'm gonna give her one of my cards real quick.
We got that letter, if you want to read it into.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is a thank you letter from the South Shore Resource Advocacy Center, dated June 2nd, 2022, addressed to Pam Aducci. Dear friends, on behalf of South Shore Resource and Advocacy Center, I want to thank you for your donation of $3,500. Our sincere thanks for your support towards the Community Support Services Program provided here at SSRAC. Your support makes a huge difference to families who are struggling with the aftermath of domestic violence and homicide bereavement. Your donation helps us to achieve our basic overall mission, which is to end violence against women and children. South Shore Resource Advocacy Center provides a broad range of counseling and services that includes individual support and advocacy, child and adolescent services, countywide court advocacy, community education and training, emergency safe home services, community outreach, small food pantry, community and legislative advocacy, support groups, older women's services, information and referral services, a 24-hour hotline, advocates in police departments, clothing closet, homicide bereavement service, advocacy at BID Plymouth Hospital ER. Please accept our thanks and appreciation, and on behalf of those who will be helped by your generosity, thank you for caring. Warmest regards, sincerely, Sandra Blatchford. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We have a memo from the building inspector saying that he reappointed John O'Brien as the gas and plumbing inspector and Thomas A. Leary as the assistant gas and plumbing inspector. It's just a note, FYI. Correspondence from the water commissioner. On behalf of the Board of Water Commissioners, I am requesting. No, you don't want me to read it? You want to wait until after the FinCom? I mean, it's here and now it's on the agenda, so.
Do it FinCom?
That FinCom was gonna address that at the,
Right, and they
the
were gonna
combined
do it
meeting
at the
with
joint
wage
meeting,
personnel,
it's just an FYI.
since it was a wage and personnel issue. I mean, you could certainly read it.
Okay, so we received a letter, I won't read it,
Yeah. They read it
asking
last
about,
night,
Yeah.
a step increase.
Okay, you can read it.
It's on the agenda, so it's kind of weird not to read it. It looks
Read it,
suspicious.
Yeah.
We received a letter asking to meet with the board, which we're gonna do a joint meeting with FinCom to talk about the water superintendent step increase. So we have a joint meeting on 7/11 with FinCom. They're asking to meet on the 5th, which isn't a meeting that we have anyways, and I don't want to meet with them before we meet with FinCom. So we can put them on the agenda for the meeting after the 11th that we have, if they want to come in and talk with us after we do that. Because they're asking to meet with us, so I don't want to turn them away from that.
Well, you could ask them to meet on the 11th. You could ask them to come on the 11th.
Do you want them there for the meeting? Do you think FinCom wants them there for the meeting?
I don't know.
I think it's probably better to ask them to come to our meeting. I think the 12th is our meeting, right?
Yeah.
So we'll do the 12th, we'll talk with FinCom, and if FinCom wants to come and talk with us on the 12th with them, I think that's a better
That's all
situation.
commissioners come in. So,
We have a resignation
At
letter.
7:30.
He's not here. Oh, so Bernie's not here, but he did call me before the meeting, so we'll bounce to that right now. So with reopening the town administrator search, we received 12 new applicants. He has been doing the interview process over the last couple of days. He thinks he should have 3 to 4 more candidates for us on top of the 3. As of right now, 2 out of 3 of our original are still fully vested in us picking them if we want. The third one is a finalist as another town, that was Ed Schwartz, but it doesn't mean that he's also gonna be picked for that. So as of this moment, the 3 are still kind of up for grabs. We have another 12. He's sorting through those, and he wants us to meet a day next week after the holiday to have 3 to 4 interviews, depending on how many pull through on that. So, Jonathan, you're not back till the 5th.
I'm back the 5th, yeah, but that will be priority number 1 when I get back, so whatever we need to do.
What about that Thursday, the 7th? What do you?
7th.
Sure?
I have to check my daughter's softball schedule. She's been giving me heat.
Hold on. We can do Wednesday or Thursday.
I prefer Wednesday.
Can you do Wednesday, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'll make it work.
I would suggest that we do. You want to do 6?
I can do 5 or after. Doesn't matter.
Either 5:30 or 6, because those interviews run kind of lengthy, and if we're gonna have 4, at least a half hour.
You want to do 5:30?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Sure.
So we'll do 5:30 on the 6th, and once I get the names, I'll get them to you so we can get them on an agenda for next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in.
Sounds excellent. I'm
Tuesday, we have to
excited.
post
We
for
have some
Thursday.
new possibilities.
So we have till Tuesday. Monday's a holiday. Tuesday, we have to post to be able to meet Thursday.
Or meeting Wednesday.
Oh, we're doing Wednesday.
So no, I need them.
So we need them
Friday.
Friday.
By Thursday, definitely by the
You gotta post Friday.
I don't know if we're gonna have it. Well, they're not open on Friday, so I don't know that we're gonna have the names on Thursday. But I'm gonna do my best. I'll call Bernie after this and see if he can get them to me. Otherwise, we're gonna have to push the meeting. We'll do our best. Do our best. Okay, so we have an email from Bob Ross. Ashley, please accept this email as my resignation from the zoning bylaw and municipal school building committees. When I initially joined, I had anticipated my travel schedule for work would be reduced. However, due to the current unpredictable nature of our economy, my employer has asked that I agree to travel significantly again. This puts me out of town often. As an example, I have been unable to attend the last 2 municipal school committee meetings. I understand the town has received talent bank forms for others looking to serve on the committees, and it's only fair to give the opportunity to others who have the time available to volunteer. Thank you for the opportunity. So we should post that those are gonna have a vacancy.
We definitely got, what you guys did was you reappointed Bert, and you appointed Tom Miller, so that was with him.
That was-
That was, because he sent me that, because I asked him if he wanted to be reappointed, he was supposed to be reappointed.
Okay, so we don't need anyone on either of those.
I'll double check.
We'll double check. And then we should send him a thank you letter from the board for serving on both of those committees. Correspondence from interim fire chief. Dear board, please be advised that, do I even have to read this? It's after the fact. Okay, well, interim fire chief's on vacation. Or was on vacation. And then he has another one. Dear board, due to the temporary vacancy created in my previous position as shift commander on Group 2, Firefighter Flaherty will be moved from Group 3 to fulfill the role effective 800 hours on July 7th, 2022. It is with that position as an interim shift commander that I ask for Firefighter Flaherty status to change and receive captain's rate as allotted in Appendix A with L3159's collective bargaining agreement. Firefighter Flaherty is the most senior firefighter in the full-time staff with over 10 years of experience. He is aware of the responsibilities of the position and has acted before. His position will revert to his previous group upon the start of the new fire chief. So I would need a motion to, hold on, let me read the right words. Make firefighter Flaherty status change to receive captain's rate.
I'll make a motion for firefighter Flaherty's status to change to receive captain's rate as allotted in Appendix A, and for him to revert to his previous group upon the start of a new fire chief.
Is there a second? All those in favor, Jonathan? Alex?
Aye.
And I'm a yes. I don't know about this one. Yeah. So this one, I'm not gonna read names. Dear Board, on June 6th, I instructed said person to stay home and not work a 24-hour shift. His wife tested positive for COVID-19 that morning. He was symptomatic and showing signs of COVID-related illness. He did take a test that morning and it came back negative. On June 10th, 4 days later, he tested positive for COVID-19, while his next two shifts, 6/12 and 6/14, were covered under COVID guidelines. His June 6th shift was not. I'm asking the board to consider covering the shift and not have him utilize his personal time. If he did show up to work on the 6th, it would have compounded the problem as two other members were currently ill. I did not want to risk any further contamination. Moving forward, all members are aware that any future sick time usage due to COVID-19 will be deducted from their sick bank.
When did we vote to amend the policy?
On
The
June
14th.
8th.
June.
June 8th.
June 8th, right, but I don't know previously if with the fire and police, how that worked with COVID because of the fact that they were first responders. I don't know what it was way back a year ago, you were asking.
But this,
Y'all might get it.
This particular
but
situation.
this instance happened before we amended the policy.
I don't know.
June 6th.
It started before the policy was amended, yes. He was in the middle of it, it seems like. Full
Yeah, but he's only asking
for one day.
for the 6th.
Yep.
And we amended it on the 8th.
Right.
I'm fine with it.
I'd say it because I think that's what it was, the 8th.
All right.
So is that good?
So
Yes.
Alex, make a motion.
I make a motion to
Don't use the name.
pay the firefighter who was out for COVID on June 6th, given, or knowing that the rules have changed since we voted that.
Okay, so we're gonna make the exception for this.
Yes.
Is there a second? I think that's a second. All those in favor, Jonathan? Alex?
Aye.
And I'm a yes. And then we have a letter from the police chief. Dear members of the Board of Selectmen, on June 30th, 2022, the Halifax Police Department is losing 3 of its most dedicated and devoted special police officers due to special legislation enacted in 2022 as part of the Police Reform Act, which is part mandated that all law enforcement officials in Massachusetts attend a full-time police academy or a bridge academy in order to remain certified. Officers Robert Gaynor, Patrick Donnelly, and David Asevich, thank you, I don't want to completely slam that in this letter, will no longer be able to be employed as special police officers with Halifax Police Department. Their last tour of duty will be June 30th, 2022. These officers have given the residents of Halifax over 55 years of dedicated and professional service, and I feel like they should be recognized on your board. Officer David, say it again. Asevich served 13 years, Officer Patrick Donnelly served 15 years, and Officer Robert Gaynor served 27 years. I would recommend that the board invites these 3 fine gentlemen to your next meeting and publicly recognize to serve. I agree.
I agree.
John?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Need a motion, or we just put it on the agenda?
No, we can just put it on the agenda. We should look into getting, actually, I'll talk to the chief about it. Okay, yes. It'll be on the next meeting.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks, Chief.
For you. Alright, so we have a few minutes. There are site plans for 0 and 592 Plymouth Street here. Just, we have to read them in that we received them. If anybody wants to look at them, they are here in the building. Town administrator report.
Well, we were gonna try to pin down a schedule for you folks, but since you're still winging it with the town administrator search, we'll just hold off on it.
Yeah, I mean, we're still meeting our 2 Tuesdays, as always, Tuesday nights. Is that what you're talking about? We're just mixing in a few extras.
Pardon?
I said we've just been mixing in a few extras at this time
That's
until
all.
we can get our feet under us, I guess. And then we just have to wait 5 minutes for your appointment. Executive session we're not gonna go into tonight because I talked to the chief and the situation cleared itself up, so we're good on that. So we have a 5-minute recess, and we'll come back in 5 minutes. Sorry, Jonathan, and we'll take our 7:45.
I'll go down to Lake Winnipesaukee.
All right, make sure you're back in 5 though. All right, so we have a 7:45 with Flower and Soul. First of all, congratulations at being up and running.
Thank you.
Second of all, thank you again for all of your support for the fireworks.
Yep.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yep, so Brian Wall, I'm founder of Flower and Soul, and Rich Carver, my general manager at Flower and Soul.
Nice to meet you.
Sorry, I forgot
Nice
you
to meet
haven't
you
met
guys.
them. My fault. I'm like, I've been there with it, so
Yeah.
sorry. Sorry, Alex. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you want to do?
Yeah, so we had a soft opening on June 17th, just to kind of get all the kinks out of the systems, get employees used to the systems, get our processes in place. And now we'd like to have a grand opening on July 9th and a rain date of the 10th, where we're actually in the process of having our property sprayed for mosquitoes and all that stuff, and ticks. So then on the grass, we'd like to have some different vendors with, education, so no product, just, tables with people want to come up and like say, oh, I'm trying to solve this issue, and they could find out what the difference between a beverage is, or a candy bar, or a brownie, or edible. There's so many different methods. There's companies like 1906, which was owned by a pharmaceutical company that has a whole different way of looking at it than some cannabis companies. So we'd like to bring 6 to 10 vendors that have different philosophies, how they solve remedies in the cannabis space.
You're going to put an age on it, right?
Yeah, 21 and above.
Yeah.
Again, no product would be for sale if people wanted to buy stuff, and they don't have to buy stuff. They could come and just get educated, leave and go home, or they can come in and obviously buy the stuff they're learning about in our store. If the board would be open, we would have 1 or 2 food trucks. I know if they go to the Board of Health, they get Corey checked on them. We talked to the chief at the event about if he had any problems with it. He seemed to be fine with it because, traffic hasn't been an issue. We've been increasing each day, but, it's with the right-hand turn lane and stuff. But, whatever the chief wants,
Right.
we would give the chief, so.
And then what about restrooms? Because I know you don't have them inside for the public, so what would you do for
We'd be
that?
happy to, and we were thinking 11 to 2, so should we talk to Steve at the DBW, how many we should have, or should we just get?
I think the Board of Health will probably give you an idea of how many you would need depending on how many people you think you're going to have. But I think in any situation that you're going to offer food, trucks, and beverage, we need to at least have some kind of restroom or porta potty or something there.
Okay. I can always ask you who you use. Since we just did it, and then if any of the board members or all the board members, I think you might have said you're gonna be away, we'd love to have a ribbon cutting with you guys. We'll call it a little bit of paper. We bought a big banner to go across the entrance and a big pair of scissors that we could all.
Little corny stuff.
I love
Make
it.
it exciting.
I've been asking for like 2.5 months for the big scissors.
I bought them.
So if the board's there, and then if the board wanted to, we'd be happy to have you guys make the first purchase. We'd obviously frame it and stuff like that. So we'd make, do whatever the photo op you guys wanted, and wanted on that. So we wanted to offer that to you guys. We would have staff on the field, making sure that it's 21 and over, making sure that there's no consumption on the property. Just again helping people, direct them to the right tables if they're not sure where they want to go. So we would, we'd obviously overstaff, that day inside and outside of our building. We would have our parking attendants working, if not one, both there, making sure there's a smooth flow of traffic. We have talked to, the Morgan Power about potentially using his place for our employees and vendors, so all 30 spots would be open to the general public. Or we had previously talked to some people over in the industrial park, behind Macaroni Grill, about using that for overflow when we were originally building the building. Applying for the space. So we're going to secure off-site parking for our employees, so all 30 parking spots are open to the general public for that day. And then we would just, if the board found it was successful, like our whole mentality is to be education first around wellness, is we would then see how it went and come up with, we'd like to have different themes. So if this one was successful, so like this is education, but we could do something around for seniors, like, in August, right? And we're gonna go, like we're reaching out this week to the Halifax, like, Council of Aging to see if we can go and do an education session there. But, we were like, if this is successful, we would like to continue to have them through October, just to use the space and really drive that wellness for people that maybe don't want to go into the dispensary, but as they call it, cannabis curious, it's just try to get people comfortable with it.
So you're creating an outreach mini-series is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
They don't necessarily need a permit because they're not doing anything here on town property. And you're not doing a DJ or anything like that, live music or live entertainment.
We were thinking about music, but if there's any process we would have to apply for, we'd be willing to do that as well.
Yeah, so you just have to fill out a live entertainment permit, and I could email that to you, or you can come in and get it, and more or less, just say when the hours you'll be, playing it, whether it be like a DJ or if it's like a radio or something off of balls or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to fill that out, I think at this point we would just do approval based on, we need to make sure fire, police, Board of Health, and your entertainment. So we can agree to that entertainment permit and approval of the event as long as fire, police, and Board of Health sign off. That way we're not holding you up for planning.
Yeah.
I would just do it contingent on that, but.
You have any questions, Jonathan?
Yeah, Brian, I'm totally fine with the event, and I wish you guys well. I guess we can have fire and police take a look at the parking lot just to make sure. I'm just a little concerned where if you're looking at 2 or 3 food trucks and a DJ and porta potties, and I'm a little concerned that you got enough space to do it all. But if people smarter than me take a look at it and say that it's not a problem spatially, then all the power to you. I wish you well.
I don't think it'd be an extended time, just so you guys know. When someone comes in, it'd be like they're gonna need a couple booths. It's like a 15-minute, 20-minute, grab something and go.
People aren't going to hang out all day.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. As long as I know that's a busy spot, so as long as it's kind of safe off the road and you guys got enough room for everybody to safely go to town. But I will say real quick on the live entertainment permit, if you could include the name of the whether it's DJ or music act or whatever it is, just some specific as to what the name of that company is, or just as specific as possible on the live entertainment permit.
Could be your iTunes playlist, I guess.
Understood.
Yeah.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, Jonathan?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
And I'm a yes. If there's anything we can do to help, in the meantime, let us know.
Yep, and let us know if you guys, I know it's summer for anyone with kids and stuff, so. But if you guys could all be there, it'd be great.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks, Ryan. Great job with the fireworks.
All right, we're not doing executive session, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Oh, great.
Just in
Thank you.
case,
Thank
I'll
you.
send you my email. Oh, I don't need that, just.
Motion to adjourn. Alex?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All those in favor, Jonathan?
Aye.
Alex?
Thank you. Aye.
And I'm a yes. We are adjourned. Thank you.